This is Zach from the Gathering Note, and I'm here with James, who he's at his first ring, and the Rhinegold just ended, and he is so gracious that he's taken a few minutes to tell us what he thought about the Rhinegold. James, so this is your first ring. How did the Rhinegold go?
I thought it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun.
You had no problem getting through the 2.5 hours?
Well, so the third scene, maybe about halfway through the third scene, where they're underground in Needle, I started to dip a little bit there, but I got kind of my second wind back about, early in the last scene.
What were you expecting when you sat in your seat? Were you expecting what ultimately happened on stage and was sung, or how were your notions changed, if they were changed at all?
Well, I had good notions of what the music was going to be like, just by knowing Wagner's style and things like that. And I knew the story. I knew the basic plot outline. I had very few expectations for how this was staged, mostly because I couldn't imagine how you could take such a big story with so many characters and so many twists and turns and such huge proportions and put it on a stage. So I couldn't really imagine how that was going to be. And so I was just blown away by the sets and the staging and the costumes and the whole design, the whole visual design of it. It was awesome.
Were there particular scenes that really stood out in your mind that you liked?
Yeah, I mean the very first scene, the curtain comes up and there's the three Rhine maidens swimming around, but they're flying around on the stage, suspended by cables. I mean, that's pretty much an eye opener. If I could write an opera, that'd be a great way to start it. Is to have three people just flying around the stage. That was incredible, and I also really liked the last scene, how everything was tied back together at the very end of the opera with the gods departing, their rainbow bridge appearing, the Rhine maidens lamenting in the background as the gods confidently depart. I thought that was a really great contrast and was staged really well, really uniquely.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned that, because you mentioned a little earlier that the final minutes of the opera, when Fricka is singing and the Rhine maidens are singing, made you a little teary-eyed. Tell me about that. What do you mean by teary-eyed? What was it about that particular part of the opera that made you misty?
Well, part of it, I think, is Wagner's music, the way he orchestrated that. He has dueling themes of the gods confidently marching off with their Valhalla theme, and on stage they're, for the most part, smiling or subdued, yet confidently heading home. But then in complete contrast, the Rhine maidens are singing, wanting their gold back, wanting their ring back, and are upset that they're not going to get it. And there's a certain bitterness to those two themes. There's a certain bitter tinge to it, that you know what's going to happen. You know that eventually this is all this that is happening is going to end, and the cycle is going to continue again. But just knowing that you are at the ascending end of this huge arc, there was just something kind of emotional about that, particularly in the way that the music brings it all together.
Did you have any problems following all the Wagner's various motives and thematic material?
I'm sure there are ones that I missed, since I don't have you probably need like a PhD in musicology to follow all of them. But I think I got all the major ones, like the Valhalla theme, the Rhine Maidens theme, the Curse on the Ring, Albrecht's dwarves, working down in their mines. I think I got all those major themes pretty well. But if I had to take a test on it, I'm sure I'd get plenty of ones wrong too.
Who did the best job? Who is, and what I mean is, who in the cast really stood out for you?
I really liked Frika, however you say it. I really liked her, and I really liked I'm gonna get the name wrong. Loga, the god of fire. I thought those two performers were really great. Votam was really good too. But I feel like if I keep going, I'll just end up naming the whole cast because there was really no one that I felt was really terrible or bad. A few times it was kind of hard to hear a few of the more minor characters like Fro and Donner and Fafner. It was a little hard to hear them occasionally, but I think it might have just been due to the orchestration or in two cases because they're bass parts and those are hard to project. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to get the name wrong again. Mimi or Albrecht's brother.
Meme.
That was surprisingly an awesome job, I think.
Well,
I wasn't expecting him to be terrible or anything, but I was just like, wow, this guy's really good.
Well, Meme is back in Siegfried, of course.
Yeah.
So you'll get to hear him sing again.
I'll know to pay attention and see if
So I would imagine now you're ready for the rest of the Ring, the remaining 3 operas.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything that you're looking forward to especially, or are you just curious to see how the whole thing unfolds?
I'm curious to see how it unfolds. This is the opera that Rhinegold was the opera that I was most familiar with heading into it, in terms of plot and music. So the rest of them are going to be kind of learning as I go, and trying to have a mixture of enjoying it and also just learning about it and trying to keep everything straight. I know the plot gets even more complicated as we go along here, so but there are a couple things. I know in Siegfried there's a Siegfried fights a dragon. I'd love to see how that's going to be staged. And since I was a kid, I always heard the Ride of the Valkyries theme, so in Die Valkyr I'm excited to see excited to see that in person.
Well, and all the themes. I mean, you picked most of them up already, so if you get lost, just pay attention to the music, and
exactly.
You'll be able to write yourself with no problem. Well, James, thank you so much for chatting with me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Ring.
Thank you.